This one, we've already mentioned on the way in that the homework clause is gone. And how we got there and the things that have happened since it was reportedly removed are kind of weird. Let me do the timeline real quick. Monday, we become aware of the Kyler Murray homework clause because that's the day that he signed his contract. It gets sent to the league, it gets sent to the union, and somebody who, and look, that's what makes the world go round. Somebody wanted to stir up some shit, frankly. I got to get it in today. That completes the week. 5 for 5. Thank you. But somebody wanted to stir it up, sent it to me, and yeah, it's news. How's it not news? It's an actual term in his contract. It's unprecedented. So that hits Monday, and inevitably, criticism of Kyler Murray for the perception as held by the Cardinals. The rest of us didn't know there was an issue with study habits. It never was an issue. It never was a thing until the Cardinals put that in there. So, a couple of days of criticism. Yesterday, and we're going to play the whole press conference coming up, Myles. Yesterday, Kyler Murray makes an unscheduled appearance in the media room to address the situation, but now they're telling us that they removed the homework clause on Wednesday.
Right.
Why is he still upset about it on Thursday? That's the thing that's still confusing to me. If it's true that it was removed on Wednesday, and it could just be that's their story and they're sticking to it, because, and we'll talk about this coming up, I think there was a very important reason as of yesterday afternoon, early evening for the Cardinals to get rid of the homework clause, which may or may not have solved the problem that they were facing. Again, we'll get into that in a minute. But the timeline's screwy to me, because why would Kyler Murray, Myles, feel compelled to go air grievances about the situation if the problem was solved on Wednesday and they took out the homework clause?
Are you really asking me now, or are we going to watch Kyler first?
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you the question.
Because he felt his character was being attacked. And, I feel pretty empathetic toward Kyler Murray in terms of this, because if my work ethic were being attacked like that publicly, no matter who it was from, I would feel a need to defend myself. I mean, there's nothing that really gets under my skin like that. So I understand from his perspective why he felt he had to go out there and say something. Whether or not the contract, addendum had been removed, if you feel like everybody is talking about how bad of a studier you are and how you don't work and how you don't really deserve anything that you've gotten, whether or not that's what people were saying. I mean, that's kind of what the perception was, from his perspective, is that everybody's saying, I don't do anything, I don't work. Well, then at that point, yeah, you're going to feel like I got to go out there and I got to say something and I've got to defend myself. And I get that from Kyler Murray.
What made it odd for me, though, is if the homework clause has already been removed from the contract, why isn't Cliff Kingsbury there too? Why isn't there some statement from the team?
Kind there, yeah.
Right. Why isn't Michael Bidwell there? He's the one who wanted it. But why don't they sweep the deck clean before he even addresses it? It would have made more sense for someone to come out and say, hey, you know what? We realize this was a mistake and we've removed it. And Kyle would like to say a few things about the criticism that he experienced, although we acknowledge that it's kind of our fault because nobody was criticizing him for anything along the lines of whether or not he studied enough until we put this clause in the contract. And we apologize to him and to you for not having the foresight to realize what a mess this was going to be. So I thought the timeline, and I look, again, wouldn't be the first time a team lied to us. I'm not ready to say with 100% certainty that the clause was removed on Wednesday. I still think there's a chance it happened yesterday, and we'll get to that. For now, though, as promised, Kyler Murray showing up to say a few things to the collected reporters at the Cardinals press room on Thursday.
I'm talking today because, I feel it's necessary, with what's going on as far as regarding me and the things that are being said about me. It's almost, to think that I can accomplish everything that I've accomplished in my career and not be a student of the game and not have that passion and not take this serious is almost, it's disrespectful, and it's almost a joke. It's, to me, I'm flattered. I'm honestly flattered that y'all think that at my size I can go out there and not prepare for the game and not take it serious. It's disrespectful, I feel like, to my peers, to all the great athletes and great players that are in this league. This game's too hard. To play the position that I play in this league, it's too hard. And I don't do this often. I don't talk about myself, but today I feel like I have to. And so I'm going to list the accolades. To go 43-0 in high school in Texas. Some are going to say, oh, it's high school. That's cool, but nobody else has done it. Go to college, win the Heisman, get drafted number 1 overall to the NFL, get drafted number 9 overall to MLB. Again, no one's ever done it. Offensive Rookie of the Year, 2-time Pro Bowler. And I'm not 6'7", 230. I don't throw the ball 85 yards. I'm already behind the 8 ball, and I can't afford to take any shortcuts, no pun intended. But those things you can't accomplish if you don't take the game serious, if you don't prepare the right way. And it's like I said, it's laughable. But to the film side of things, there's multiple different ways to watch film. There's many different ways to process the game. There's many different ways quarterbacks learn the game and break the game down. Of course, I watch film by myself. That's a given. That doesn't even need to be said. But I do enjoy and love the process of watching the game with my guys, the quarterbacks, my coaches. And I think you can ask any quarterback around the league. The camaraderie in that room, the passion that goes into it. Every man in that room has a job. Every man contributes in different ways. And like I said, I think every player that has played the game, no matter the position, understands what I'm saying right now. As far as everybody in your perspective or your room having a job and contributing. So again, reiterate that there's multiple different ways to watch film, and of course we all watch film. Let's not that doesn't need to be questioned. But it's, again, I refuse to let my work ethic, my preparation be in question. I've put an incomprehensible amount of time and blood, sweat, tears, and work into what I do, whether it's football or baseball. People can't even comprehend the amount of time that it takes to do 2 sports at a high level in college. Let alone do it. Be the first person to do it ever at my size. It's like I said, this is. It's funny, but to those of you out there that believe that I'd be standing here today in front of y'all without having a work ethic and without preparing, I'm honored that you think that. But it doesn't exist. It's not possible. It's not possible. So that's all I have on that.
He would go on to be asked the question of whether he's mad at the team over the homework clause that was in the contract, and he declined to answer the question, which, of course, Myles, means he's mad at the team.
Yeah.
If you're not mad at the team, there's no reason to decline to answer the question. And he should be mad at the team. Everything he said that we just listened to flows from the fact that the Cardinals flagged the issue by putting the clause in the contract. There is no wheel that was spun in Michael Bidwell's office of obscure and vague contract terms that we're going to add to Kyler Murray's contract. It's there for a reason. It was there either because they think he wasn't studying hard enough, or they feared that he would stop studying. That's one possible explanation. Or someone explained this to me recently, it's just kind of a gratuitous thing that Bidwell wanted in there because he's paying the guy so much money. But regardless of why, it's in there for a reason. And the Cardinals knew or should have known that once it's in there, we're going to see it, and it's going to cause people to say they must think the guy doesn't work hard enough. So if they think it and they're the ones who know him, why shouldn't we think it too?
Well, it also kind of flows from that reporting that we got from Chris Mortensen on the day of the Super Bowl, where Kyler Murray was called selfish and a finger pointer and those kinds of things. And everybody's kind of like, whoa, where is all of this coming from? And I think that everybody would know that, like, that comes from the Cardinals, right? And so I don't necessarily know what's going on there. Like, why are you seemingly attacking your own quarterback? I mean, the day of the Super Bowl, like, that's just strange. And like, it's a splash story, and I get all that. And we all need to, make sure people are watching our television shows. And I understand it from that perspective. But when you put it into the contract, then I don't understand what other possible conclusion, I should say, we could all draw other than you don't think Kyler Murray is studying enough. And it's not necessarily that, he doesn't work at all. I think that we all know that, right? Like, you have to be able to work at least somewhat in order to be a quarterback in the NFL, right? In order to actually get your team to go to the playoffs. But at the same time, you can look at what the Cardinals did last year late in the season after they lose to the LA Rams on Monday Night Football. They go to Detroit and lay an absolute egg. And frankly, I don't know what he was doing that week. I'm sure he watched some film, but that looked like a completely unprepared team, including the quarterback, to go to Detroit and lose like that. That was ridiculous. And then they looked completely lost in that playoff game that they lost to LA when they were here at SoFi Stadium. And I was at that game. So, I don't know if those are the kinds of things that they were thinking about. But again, when you put in an unprecedented clause like this into a contract, there's a reason for it.
Absolutely. And look, I'm hesitant to quibble with anything that he said yesterday because, again, this is all the team's fault. When he says there are a lot of different ways to watch film, wouldn't you love to know what they are?
Yes, I would.
There's only one way I watch a movie. There's only one way I watch a TV show. I'd like to know what the different ways there are to watch film because, again, knowing your system and knowing your playbook is one thing. As Sims has said all week, Kyler Murray's known the system he runs since he was a freshman in college. Knowing the intricacies of the defense that you're going to face, searching for tendencies and tells that may help you better do your job as the quarterback. That's the thing that requires effort and time, and that's the 4 hours per week that the Cardinals wanted. And they may have wanted more. They may have managed to get it down from a higher number to 4. 4 hours really is nothing. I'm perplexed by the fact, and I don't want to hit the Cardinals too hard because they finally did remove it. But the whole exercise is an embarrassment for a team that just can't have nice things. The day after we see the awesome black helmet, which I love, and I ordered one of the mini versions to put down in the barn with the other collection that we have there. The day after something so awesome, we're reminded that the Cardinals is the Cardinals, and they are going to continue to be, from time to time, dysfunctional. They've overcome the dysfunction with a team that went to the Super Bowl and almost won it, and then with a team that went to the NFC Championship game and didn't almost win it, but now they're relevant again because they went a long time. Myles, one of the things that I used to love to say is that they had won one playoff game since the Truman administration, and that was true through 2008 when they hit their playoff run after going 9-7 and winning the NFC West. The win in the wild card round over the Cowboys in 98 was their only postseason victory since Harry S. Truman was the president of the United States. That's how bad that team had been. So every once in a while we catch a reminder of the dysfunction that's baked into that team.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.